Waiters, what dating disasters have you witnessed? Ask Reddit. Not waiter, but I used to be a banquet cook for large corporate events weddings. Had your very typical bridezilla one weekend. She ended getting hammered at the reception and slept with a groomsman in the honeymoon suite. Needless to say, husband left her immediately. At least I got a lot of compliments on my crab cakes. I was bartending at a restaurant in San Francisco. This guy came in and ordered a vodka martini. He downed it and ordered another. Halfway through his third, he called his wife and asked for a divorce. After he hung up, we talked about the Red Sox. I'm from Boston. I worked at a bar in a hotel for 5 years. I had a table come down from their hotel room and sit at one of my pub tables for dinner. From the moment they sat down, you could tell the wife was furious about something. She was unbelievably pleasant toward me, but did not say a single word to the man at the table. I get their drinks and then their orders. He ordered steak and she ordered the sauciest pasta dish we had on the menu. About 20 minutes later, the wife still hadn't said a word to the man. Since they sat down, their food was done and my food runner set it on the table. Right as I was about to walk over to see if they needed anything else, I saw the woman stand up, say, "Go fuck yourself, John," as she picked up the plate of pasta and dumped it all over his head and down into his lap. Then she very calmly walked out of the bar and back up to her hotel room. I spent a few minutes helping the man clean up and got my manager to come handle the situation from there, as it was way above my pay grade at that point. Later in the night, the woman came back to the bar without the man and we talked for a while. Turns out he admitted to cheating on her right before their dinner reservation. I never saw either of them again. I worked fine dining in Vail, Colorado. I once saw a lady throw red wine all over a guy's shirt and leave. He sat and continued eating his spaghetti plate. No fucks. I worked briefly as a waiter at a semi-nice place near me. I had a couple come in for a date who we've seen there a few times before. I think it was their regular dating place. She was very clearly sad, and was talking about how her uncle was really sick and was probably going to pass away soon. He decided to pull out the ring and pop the question anyway. Seriously, dude? Read the room. I used to bartend at a yard house in the before times. Yard house is a corporate place that's basically a nicer sports bar with a ton of beer on tap with stupid, giant novelty glasses. I had a couple at the bar during happy hour drinking from one of the big glasses and they ordered some onion rings that were half price. He jokingly proposed with an onion ring and she started laughing and jokingly said yes. Then he busted out an actual ring. She wasn't laughing anymore. Bartender for a couple on a Tinder date. They talked for about an hour. He goes to the bathroom but left his jacket on the back of his chair with his wallet and keys in. She stole them, stole his car, and went shopping. That poor schmuck refused to call the cops for an hour because it was going so well. I felt bad for him. I used to work as a hostess at a, thank deity it's the weekend already. Guy makes a reservation at the most booked table. It's by the window, all romantic etc. Also super visible from any other part of the restaurant. Comes in, all dressed up and with a suitcase. Strange, but okay. A few minutes later, his date arrives. They laugh, flirt. We actually thought it's an anniversary or he's going to propose or something the way it was going. NOPE halfway through the evening she starts screaming at him. He broke up with her and actually packed her suitcase. Then paid and left her there sobbing at the table alone. We got her a brownie on the house, because just watching that we felt fucking awful. Not my story, but my partner just told about this happening at his work. We live in a pretty large university college and one time a guy came in with a plant for a date. He sat with it at the table, ordered that food, drinks, and dessert. He was a total gentleman to the plant. Turns out he lost a bet with his frat brothers. I kept my interaction with the table brief, but I'll never forget the time I had a couple come in, and as I was setting down the entree, the lady looked at her man stone cold, pointed to his phone and said, "So who this hoe you been texting?" Me, of course, neither being the hoe nor texter in question, made definite haste away from that conversation. I do remember her asking to split the bill at the register though. I'm a waitress in my father's restaurant. It's not that big, but we're usually full during weekends. A lot of couple come here cause it's kinda chic for a French restaurant. Anyway, once there was a couple, early 30s. The dude arrived earlier than the girl, so I thought it was something like a date. But no, the girl ordered everything. She chose all the dishes, the dessert and even the wine without even asking the guy what he would like to have. They both didn't talk, only said good evening, weird for a date, but when I came at their table to serve the wine, they started to argue about their relationship. The dude was convinced that she cheated on him, and you know what, she admitted that and said very loud that he was bad in bed. At this moment any single cell in my body was cringing. They kept arguing for 10 minutes until I decided to stop them, cause they were almost yelling and so disturbing the 15 people in the restaurant. The woman asked if she could have another bottle of wine, and she left within 5 minutes with the bottle. I felt so bad for this guy that I gifted him his whiskey coca. Geez, poor guy. I was a waiter at a pretty high-end hotel restaurant. It was about 3 p.m. and I was the only one on the floor as it was normally very slow at that time. There was only one party seated and it was a middle-aged man and woman. You could tell they weren't married. I went over and asked if they wanted anything to drink and they both got mimosas, I think. I went back with their drinks and asked if they were also planning on ordering food. They said yes, but that they're in no rush and will let me know when they were ready to order. About 15 minutes goes by when this man shows up at the front desk, starts looking around, yells, "I fucking knew it, you bitch," and starts walking towards the couple sitting down. The woman stands up and the guy remains seated. It became clear that the woman was having an affair with another man, and the husband came in to confront them. He grabbed her hand and walked her out, but not before telling the man to stay the fuck away from my wife. The man remains seated at the table, turns to me and waves me over. I go over and he says in a perfectly calm tone, "Cobb salad please." Not a waiter, but once witnessed a woman ghost her date at the end of the night. It was a fancy jazz club, and the couple racked up what I assume was at least a $500 bill. There was a ton of wine and they went through a few expensive entrees. When it came time to pay, the woman snuck out while the man was in the bathroom, and just disappeared. The dude was distraught. Saw a proposal take a turn when the guy put the ring in her champagne. She drank the champagne quickly unknowingly and started to choke. Guy performs a Heimlich maneuver and the ring pops out only to fly into someone else's food. Guy had what appeared to be 2 heart attacks, but in the end the lady did say yes. Side note, because of the almost death they got free dessert and they laughed about the whole evening saying, "Till death do us part for real," and they wanted no beverages at all unless it was super clear, and if the guy died order it. I walked into the employee restroom to find a woman giving head to her boyfriend who was sitting on the can. Not a waiter, but disaster story. My mom's friend is notoriously a shit magnet. She went to the bathroom on a first date and as she sat on the loo, a ceiling tile crashed down on her head rendering her unconscious. The date left thinking she ditched him. Ooh, I have one. I was a server at a wine bar several years ago and on a particularly slow night an older couple came in. They sat in the corner and talked until closing time, 10 p.m. for this day. When they asked for the check I, maybe stupidly, asked if it was together or separate. The lady broke down crying and the man told me that they were finalizing their divorce. I have never felt so awkward in my life. Nothing crazy, but the guy was showing off his Yu-Gi-Oh card collection. Initially it looked like she was interested, but then later went to the restroom and never returned. I comped half the meal for him.